Have you ever stood in a room and felt like someone was watching you, but when you turned, she looked away? Most men miss this. Not because they're blind, but because they don't understand the hidden game. Attraction for women rarely begins with words. But if you stay calm, if you lean back, if you let her words hang in the air with a slight smirk and no need to correct her, you become interesting. Because you're no longer reacting to her test, you're passing it. This is where Stoicism becomes your silent weapon. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." She's not testing your intelligence. She's testing your emotional grip. Can you hold your frame? Can you keep your presence unshaken? If yes, she'll escalate. She'll try again and again until she finds your edge or accepts that she won't. But here's what most men never realize when she starts mirroring your behavior, your posture, your tone, your silence. That's not a coincidence. That's the beginning of surrender, but only if you know what it means. Let's go deeper. Our talking may be about something simple: work, music, that random documentary you watched last night. But then you notice something strange. She's echoing you, not repeating your words, but your rhythm, the way you lean back, the way you tilt your head, even the way you laugh. It's not obvious. It's subtle, subconscious, but it's real. This is the sign most men overlook, because it's not loud, it's not flirtatious. It's alignment, and alignment, when unspoken, is attraction in disguise. A woman only mirrors a man when she wants to feel what he feels. She's sensing with your nervous system. Why? Because her biology is searching for safety in familiarity. If she can match your pace, she can understand your energy. But here's the twist. If your energy is weak, scattered, uncertain, she won't mirror you. She'll recoil. She'll protect herself. But if your energy is calm, composed, rooted in purpose, she'll lock in. She'll start reflecting it. Not because she's trying to seduce you, but because she wants to see if she can fit in your frame. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." That includes women. Their minds race with projections, with questions, with silent anxieties. So when they find a man whose presence slows their thoughts, whose voice lowers their defenses, whose presence feels like a place, they follow. Not because you chased, but because your stillness became magnetic. But here's the thing. Mirroring isn't the peak, it's the doorway. What comes next is the most misunderstood signal of all, because it looks like rejection, but it's actually the moment she starts craving your attention the most. She laughs, she leans in, she plays along, but suddenly she stops replying as quickly. Her tone shifts, her eyes wander more, her words become fewer. Most men panic. They start questioning themselves. Did I say something wrong? Did I miss a cue? Should I reach out more? And that's exactly when they lose the game. Because what she's doing isn't rejection, it's calibration. It begins with attention, and attention starts long before you ever notice. She notices first. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But most men don't even see it happening. A woman who's into you doesn't always smile. She's pulling back, not to end things, but to measure you. When a woman is truly drawn to a man, there's a tipping point. The moment she realizes she's feeling too much too soon, and instinctively she tests her own vulnerability. She withdraws, not because she's losing interest, but because she needs to see if you will. Will you chase? Will you lose composure? Will you collapse into desperation? Or will you remain still? Stoic Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." Her withdrawal is outside your control, but your reaction, entirely yours. This is where the real game begins. Because if you reach, you reinforce her power. But if you wait, if you continue living, if you hold the same presence without seeking reassurance, she feels it deeply, and her mind starts turning. Why isn't he chasing? Does he not care? Did I misread him? That uncertainty is fuel. It's the tension that reignites her interest, stronger than before. But only if you endure the discomfort. Most men fail here. They rush in to fix something that was never broken. They try to reassure her when she was actually hoping he wouldn't. And just when she thinks you're unbothered, that's when she shifts again. Only this time, she starts revealing pieces of herself she hides from everyone else. And that is your next signal. Most men think the deepest intimacy is physical. They're wrong. Real intimacy begins the moment she reveals something she doesn't show the world. Her shame, her regrets, the cracks in her armor. But she won't announce it. She won't say, "Here's a piece of my soul." It comes quietly. Maybe she mentions a father she never understood, a time she failed, a friend who betrayed her, just a sentence, a glance away, a softness in her voice that wasn't there before. And here's the catch. It's not the story she's testing. It's your reaction. Will you interrupt? Will you make it about yourself? Will you give advice she never asked for? Or will you do what most men can't? Just be still. Just listen. Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When she lets down her guard, she's not asking for solutions. She's asking, are you a safe space? Can I show you the parts of me that don't sparkle and still be wanted? Most men try to fix. They rush in with comfort cliches, or worse, judgment wrapped in concern. But a man who says nothing, who simply absorbs, who meets her vulnerability with steady presence, that man becomes unforgettable. She doesn't always talk, sometimes she just watches, silently, closely, repeatedly. When a woman is attracted to you, her biology becomes vigilant, her eyes follow, her attention lingers. She listens to the way you speak to others. Why? Because women aren't starving for compliments. They're starving to be understood. Not just admired, but accepted in the dark. And when she sees you don't flinch in the dark, she wonders what else you can handle, what else you might see in her. But don't mistake this for complete surrender. Because once you pass this threshold, she'll test the balance. She'll start to flirt with chaos, not to sabotage you, but to see if your inner peace is real or just an act. It starts subtly, a sarcastic remark, a delayed reply, a joke that lands just a little too sharp. She might mention another man, or challenge your beliefs. She might disappear for a day, then come back as if nothing happened. Most men spiral. They chase, accuse, overthink, overtalk. But none of it was meant to destroy. It was designed to reveal. Because here's what no one tells you. When a woman starts to feel too deeply, she will try to break what's growing. Not because she wants to end it, but because she needs to know it won't collapse. And you are the structure she's testing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In this moment, she becomes the event. She creates chaos to see if you react or remain, not with cold detachment, but with centered presence. She wants to see if you're grounded in who you are, or just performing confidence to win her. If you get triggered, she pulls back. If you demand answers, she closes. But if you smile unmoved, if you hold eye contact without tension, if you allow the storm to pass through you without changing your stance, she feels something primal, not just attraction, safety, leadership, trust. Because if you can handle her at her most unpredictable, you become a man who can handle life, and that's rare. Most men lose composure here. They get emotional, reactive, desperate to regain control. But the man who lets go of control is the one who earns her respect. And once she respects you, her behavior shifts again. Suddenly, she stops performing. The masks fall, and now she starts reflecting not just your presence, but your purpose. Attraction without direction dies. You've kept your calm, passed her tests, but now she shifts again. She stops us asking about your past and starts asking about your future. Where do you see yourself going? Why do you do what you do? What drives you when no one's watching? Most men smile. She watches how you carry yourself, how you react to the world around you. But here's the secret. She's not watching to admire you. She's watching to decode you. To see if there's something in you that sets off that ancient signal of safety, strength, and mystery. They give vague answers, generic dreams, empty ambition, and in that moment the spark begins to fade, because a woman who's emotionally invested wants to know one thing. If she walks beside you, is there anywhere worth going? Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Women don't need you to be famous, or rich, or powerful, but they need to see a path, a mission, a fire that you serve that burns brighter than their attention. Why? Because feminine energy craves direction. It wants to move, but it needs something to move toward. If your world is empty, if you exist only to win her, she loses interest fast. But if your world is rich, if your days are filled with intention, if you wake up with purpose that is not her, she becomes curious, then invested, then loyal. Because now, being with you isn't just a connection, it's an invitation into a life that's bigger than both of you. And most men never offer that. They think love is enough, but love without structure is chaos, and chaos exhausts her, so she'll walk. But when she senses a man anchored in vision, one who moves with quiet fire, one who doesn't slow down even when she enters the frame, she leans in, not to lead, but to follow something worthy, something rare, something unshakable. But don't think she surrenders now, because the moment she's in, she'll test one last thing, your ability to walk away if she ever stops deserving her place beside you. She's closer now, laughs deeper, shares more. But then, just when you think it's safe, she pulls back again, sharper this time. She criticizes, questions your choices, acts cold, or worse, talks about another man with a smirk just to see what you'll do. Most men crack, they argue, beg, over-explain, but the high-value man does none of that. He simply watches, calm, unshaken, because here's what most never understand. This isn't disrespect, it's a final test, and it's not about ego, it's about boundaries. She needs to know if she disrespects your time, your values, your energy, will you still stay, or will you walk away without flinching? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." She wants to know you live by that you don't punish, you don't plead, you exit with dignity, with silence, and never look back, because if you can leave when disrespected, you're not just confident, you're dangerous. You don't need her validation. You don't crave her attention. The average man misses this entirely. He only sees what's loud. But women don't operate in loudness. They signal through silence. And if you can't perceive the unspoken, you'll always arrive too late. But this is just the beginning, because when she starts creating opportunities for you to notice her, you choose her, but you do not need her. And women feel that like gravity, that kind of man is rare. Most men tolerate too much. They think that enduring disrespect proves strength, but it proves weakness. A man with no boundaries isn't strong, he's desperate, and desperation kills desire. But when she senses you could walk, truly walk, she recalibrates fast. She realizes she's not the prize you are. And that shifts the entire dynamic, because now, staying with you isn't about how much she wants you. It's about how much she's willing to grow to keep you. But this shift only happens if you've built one thing most men never master: consistency. The next sign isn't about her behavior, it's about yours. And she's watching it closer than you think. At this stage, words mean little. She's heard your thoughts, felt your presence, seen your restraint. But now she shifts her focus, quietly, strategically. She starts observing you in the in-between moments. How you speak to the waiter, how you treat people who can't give you anything, how you carry yourself when you're not trying to impress. Why? Because every woman, deep down, is searching for one thing: certainty. Not in what you say, but in who you are. Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Character is revealed not in moments of comfort, but in times of challenge." And that's exactly what she's watching for now. Are you consistent? Do your actions match your values? Or were you just performing strength to win her attention? Women are hypersensitive to incongruence. If you talk about discipline but live in chaos, she senses it. If you preach boundaries but let hers slip, she sees it. If you claim purpose but waste your days, she knows. You don't have to be perfect, but you must be true. Because when a woman sees you act the same when the spotlight fades, something primal clicks inside her: safety, stability, trust. Not the kind built overnight, but the kind she can surrender into. Most men unravel here. They relax too early, drop the mask, get lazy, start chasing again, thinking they've already won. And just like that, the attraction begins to rot, because now she sees it was never your nature, it was your performance. But if you keep showing up the same way, with or without her presence, with or without reward, you signal the one thing that makes a man unforgettable: integrity. And when she sees that, she doesn't need more words. She just waits, quietly, which brings us to the final sign, and the most misunderstood one of all. She used to laugh often, ask questions, playfully challenge you. But now she's quiet, not cold, not distant, just observant. For most men, this is where confusion sets in. They assume she's bored. That's when the game shifts. The second sign is far more dangerous, because most men think they're winning when in fact they're being tested. And if you fail, the window closes forever. Let's talk about that next. So you noticed her looking, maybe once, maybe twice. But then something strange happens, losing interest, pulling away. So they push harder, talk more, try to fill the silence. But they miss the truth. This isn't withdrawal, it's evaluation. When a woman goes quiet, it's not because she's stopped feeling. It's because she's feeling too much. And she needs space to process it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When she's quiet, she's watching. Not your words, but your essence. She's asking herself, can I trust this? Can I surrender to this? This is where the noise ends and the truth begins. Most men fail here because they confuse silence with rejection. But silence is sacred. It's the space between tension and trust. The space where she decides if you're the kind of man who can handle not just her words, but her stillness. And if you fill that space with insecurity, you lose her. But if you hold it with calm, with certainty, with presence, something shifts inside her. She stops questioning. She starts knowing that you're not performing, that you don't need to speak to be powerful, that your presence doesn't depend on her reactions. In that quiet, she feels your strength. And when a woman feels that, truly feels it, she doesn't just want you, she respects you. And respect is the foundation of everything that lasts. But now that you've seen all 10 signs, what do you do with them? Let's bring it home. One final thought, one Stoic truth. You've seen the signs, the glances, the mirroring, the emotional openings, the silence. But signs mean nothing if you're still chasing approval. Attraction isn't a checklist. It's not a script. It's a reflection of the energy you bring into every moment. Women don't fall for words. They fall for alignment, for consistency, for men who don't bend to be chosen, but stand to be recognized. A Stoic man doesn't need to prove himself. He embodies himself. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." So don't study signs just to decode her. Study them to refine you. Because the man who sees clearly, who acts without noise, who can walk away from anything that threatens his peace, that man doesn't attract by effort. He attracts by being. And when a woman feels that presence, that unwavering calm, that earned confidence, she doesn't run. She leans in, quietly, completely. Type, "I receive it," in the comments if you're done chasing and ready to radiate. And if you're ready to go deeper, into the psychology, the power, and the peace of being a Stoic man, subscribe now. Because this isn't a channel. It's a transformation. She says something provocative, slightly off, maybe even wrong. Not enough to start a fight, but just enough to make you react. And most men do. They correct her. They debate. They try to prove a point. And just like that, the trap closes, because this wasn't an accident. It was a calculated error. When a woman is drawn to a man, she doesn't just want to see how he looks. She wants to see how he reacts. So she creates what I call a tension pulse, a moment where she disrupts the conversation, shifts the energy, and watches what you do next. If you become defensive, you lose. If you become emotional, you fail. If you seek approval, even worse, you reveal yourself as unstable.